Are there moments during your tour that still that you think of every day?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to talk about them, Doug. I mean, but there's.
I gotta get a drink here. Just give me a second. You hit a nerve. I joined the military as my dad was in the military. It seemed like kind of the right thing to do, follow my father's footsteps. So I joined the military in '84. I left St. Stephen in June, and I went to boot camp in Cornwallis. Cornwallis was a bit of an eye-opener. It was very interesting. As to say, they take your pride away, they take your dignity away, they take everything away, and they give it back to you a little bit at a time over a 10-week period. Went to my trades training in Borden, Ontario. They offered me 3 different trades, which was military police, Med-A, which was medical technician, and I think it was photo tech. Med-A was the kind of thing to do. I worked for Kenny Holmes' ambulance service at the time, and I ended up loving medicine, so I chose to go into medicine. We have brave people from World War I and World War II that were willing and ready to go, wanted to sign up, wanted to defend our country. Well, I signed thinking that, oh, I'm going to be doing peacekeeping or, going from base to base and looking after aircraft and looking, and then when I get into the medical trade, I was going to be looking after people. Well, when I signed up, that's what our goal was. That's what we thought we were signing up for, was defending the borders of Canada. Not realizing that those borders extended far from beyond Canada into other countries. I've had rounds go by my head. I've had rounds hit my vehicles. I've had mortar rounds hit my vehicle. I've had rockets skip under my vehicle. And I know that there is somebody out there with their hand on my shoulder protecting me, because if I look back at everything that I've done, I shouldn't be here today. I look at it and go, man, I'm so lucky to be here. Somebody shot the engine of my ambulance. A sniper took out my ambulance. I walked over landmines to save people. Not knowing they were there, I just did my drills. I stepped in the tracks, kept the guy from bleeding out. I got an award for it. Didn't really care about the award. I saved the guy. That's my goal. My goal at the end of the day was to make sure that this gentleman got from here to here and was still alive. My first thought was, I'm going somewhere to make sure that my family's going to be safe. That I do know. I'm going to prevent the wars from coming back into Canada, into the borders of Canada. I'm going to make sure that my soldiers all come back safe. As a leader, that is the most important thing, is to make sure that my soldiers, the soldiers that work for me or that work under me with me, all come back to see their families. Anybody can pull the trigger, but it takes somebody to stand behind that gun, to point it at somebody, and take a life is not easy. It's not something that I wish on anybody. And when you have 16-year-olds or kids pointing AK-47s at you that are fully loaded, got a second clip on it, and these kids know how to use it, you don't hesitate. You don't hesitate, because if you hesitate, you wouldn't be here. In the instance going to Afghanistan, I lost 2 troops on my tour. In future tours after that, I lost a couple of troops as well. You're tearful for the people that are sitting at home waiting for their family members to come home, and they're not. You know that if they are coming home, that they're in a box. That's if they are able to. And I think the hardest thing that I've ever done is to put one of my soldiers in a box and send him home. One day in particular that stands out on my tour, November 17th, 2007. We got called about, I guess it was about 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and I knew that the Canadians were going to be moving. I knew the schedules of the Canadians. Got a call. There was casualties. The regimental sergeant major that day, or that evening, came to me and said, Doug, we just got news that one of our medics is missing, and we're sending a chopper out in around 2 or 3 hours to go look for him, and they want you to go. And I said, okay. So they said, well, you can send anybody else. We know you have a casualty. You can send anybody else. And I said, well, no. I said, I'd sooner go and bring my soldier home than have somebody go out there and live through the nightmares of not finding him or not bringing him home. And we flew out to the site where the Med-A went missing, and it was still dark out. One of the vehicles was still burning. Obviously, they had expired, and they were no longer with us. It was about 10 o'clock that morning. We finally were able to push the vehicle off the hot spot, and I crawled in the vehicle, and sure enough, it was my med tech. I found his dog tags. I found enough of them that I could identify who it was. This was probably one of the worst moments, because his girlfriend, soon to be his wife, which they had just proposed to each other prior to the tour starting, and they were going to get married after the tour, was on another medical crew on Kandahar. And we had to tell her that her fiance had passed, and it haunts me. It always, this time of year, probably the worst time. I lost a medic on August 22nd, just after our tour started, and I lost him on November 17th. Those two haunt me every day. I see their faces every time I wake up in the morning, sometimes before I go to sleep at night. I try to do things that take my mind off things, but it's not easy. It's hard, very hard. Going 120 miles an hour every day, every minute, and then getting back to Canada and doing a full halt stop. Now I'm only doing 10 miles an hour. I'll tell you, that just, it plays in your head, plays in your mind. You've shot at people, you've killed people, you've saved people, you've cut legs off, you've cut arms off, during surgeries to save people, and now you're doing nothing. And you just sit there and twirl your thumbs. You don't know what to do with your time. I lost everything. I lost sense of time. I lost sense of value. I lost self-worth. Just everything about myself. That's when I became a shell. Didn't understand that just certain phone calls could trigger me. Certain smells. If I smell diesel fuel, to this day, I get sick to my stomach, and it takes me right back into the lab. It triggers. I have so many triggers that I know what my triggers are. I avoid them. Most of my house has been built. Starts at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I build till 6 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because if I don't sleep, I don't have nightmares. But to the point where if I wasn't sleeping, I'd fall asleep in the day and then have daymares, where I would start to doze off and then my head would take me right back. I can tell you the date, the time, the amount of bullets that went by my foot, that went by my head, that took out my ambulance, that every little detail, I have it upstairs in my brain. It's like a slide projector. Somebody just going, or a PowerPoint presentation, somebody just going click, 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 next slide, next slide, next slide. And it's just like 1,000 pictures go through my head. Finally broke down. I couldn't put my uniform on. I couldn't see the world. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't shop. I felt empty inside. I felt like I'm just a shell, and I'm carrying on with life. I'm going through the motions, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I got to the point where I was ready to just finish it all and walk away. Maybe I am broken inside, but now I can say I'm broken inside. At one time, I didn't know. At one time, I couldn't tell you. But through family, through my friends, I was able to look in the mirror and say that this is still a good person. I killed a Taliban. I see his face every day. And I was put on this world to save lives, not to take them. And it still bothers me. I don't know why people can shoot people and just slough it off, because I can't. I can't. It's just too hard. I've seen lots of death in my career. I've seen lots of life in my career. I've delivered babies, especially in countries conflict countries like Rwanda. We're delivering babies, what so much better than taking a life is giving life and allowing life to live. And that's what our goal is as medical people. It's not to take lives. It's not to watch people die. It's to do our best to save them. There's no better feeling to know that you're helping somebody. That somebody, whether it be a soldier, whether it be somebody I come across the road, like in a motor vehicle accident, there's no better feeling at the end of the day to know that you've helped somebody live another day, or you've helped somebody being able to go back and see their family. One important thing is that we know that our soldiers, whether it be past, present, or future soldiers, are doing one thing, and that's keeping Canadians safe. That's a given. And I think as long as we're able to step out our house into our yard, play with our dogs or our kids, or go for a walk, we're doing our job. And we're protecting people. And I think that people are starting to forget what the military is all about, what the military has done over the years. It's kept us free, able to go downtown shopping. You go to some of these other countries and they don't have shopping malls. Why? Because they were just blown out. We're so close to being on the brink of a war, a world war, that people need to realize, and we need to support our troops, whether that be past, present, or future. We always need to support our troops. So please stand behind your soldiers, stand behind your troops, stand behind your family members. When they come back and they need support, help them. Don't leave them high and dry. And don't forget about them. They need your help. I couldn't do this alone. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have my family as good as they are.